Zazbad. Zazbad Nano Nano. Welcome to the Uber Nerd Experience's first ever little bit of theory crafting. Crime and Punishment in the Verse, a Star Citizen theory crafting story. Star Citizen is going to become a universe of the possible. If people can think of it, they will likely try to do it. From mining asteroids, moons, and yes, even planets, to running salvage operations in Vega at the edge of an ongoing Vandal attack. Or even initiating a multi-pronged attack into Vandal space itself, the players will be continually surprising the developers and changing the landscape or spacescape as it is. One area that has not been entirely addressed is the idea that some players might just want to play sociopaths, or they might just troll. These nuisance players will claim that they are just using the in-game mechanics to play a sociopath, or that the game allows them to be a pirate. But what are they gaining from that? Is there any economic reason for it, or are they just harassing the same players over and over again? Others will claim, of course, that they are pirates, and this is what pirates do. Okay, either way, they will usually become more trollish as time moves forward. And if nothing is done to address their actions, many players who are primarily PvE, player versus environment, will end up leaving the game. The PvP players will be like, whatever, we don't need him in this game. This is a PvP game. Get out if you don't like it, right? But the problem is that we want this game to be attractive and inclusive to all play types. To some extent, I do understand where the PvPers are coming from. When there are a group of people that are demanding that no consequences come to them, that they can do all these things, benefit from all this economy, and not have to deal with other players at all, that can be a little bit frustrating. But this is not what this conversation is about. What this conversation is about is the nature of crime and punishment in this verse that is being created by Cloud Imperium Games. The prison planet Quarterdeck. As you can see right behind me here, right next to my, I would say, what is it? Right over here, right there is Quarterdeck. This is in the Kellogg system. Now, Quarterdeck is an icy desert world that is used as a prison in the Star Citizen lore. The Kellogg system lies this prison planet, and that they call Quarterdeck, and it is the sixth planet from the Kellogg star. Followed at its Lagrange point is followed at its Lagrange point by a security station known as Justice Star. Justice Star is used as the prisoner processing center for Quarterdeck, and it's where all the prison guards and the patrol craft for the prisoner part of this system are located. Quarterdeck itself is an icy desert world that serves as a prison to hundreds of thousands of the verse's most hardened criminals. Now, this is NPC criminals, not the PC criminals. PC as in player character. An antimatter facility on the surface of the planet is wholly staffed by prisoners sentenced to do hard labor. This is where all of the antimatter either is made. They don't really explain it in any kind of depth. Now, think of it. There is an entire planet with which to craft hundreds of hours of gameplay, all focused around escape or black markets or all these kinds of things that can happen in prisons. When players who become so much of a troll or a nuisance that they get huge bounties on their head are caught, what better thing to do with them than to send them to Quarterdeck? The object of their game changes from trolling, going out sacking convoys, killing players and or NPC civilians, to trying to escape from Quarterdeck. Their time on Quarterdeck would, of course, start with them being processed on Justice Star. Maybe they'd even have a trial where their victims would testify against them. Now, we could go so far as to forming, randomly of course, a jury of players who signed up for jury duty in the verse. The selection of jurors would happen by selecting 8 players who were online at the time and summoning them to jury duty on Justice Star. Of course, the players who could refuse, and simply with a tap of a key, much like accepting or declining a party invitation. Now, once the 8-person jury is formed, they would turn on their comms and accept a private security channel invite through Spectrum and wait for the trial to begin. This way, the trial could be at least perceived to be impartial. The judge, of course, would be played by a moderator, an employee of CIG, and they would instruct the players and the jury to keep this in the verse and in character. Those who refused would just be, silenced. A technological feat achieved by an electronic beam that shines down upon them from the ceiling. Basically, you mute them, the beam comes down, and they are essentially muted. Now, they can listen to the proceedings, but they won't be able to speak. The proceedings would last for maybe 15 to 20 minutes, and in the end, if the player was found guilty, which is not a guarantee, the sentence would be carried out, and they would have all of their gear taken from them, stored on Justice Star, and loaded into a prison transport and shuttled to the surface of Quarterdeck, where they would be given a small room and have a chip or something implanted in their hand, to which they could get their daily rations. The new game, Escape from Quarterdeck. The prisoner would have to follow the rules of the prison, and of course they would begin to seek out alliances or looking for possible escape routes. Because Quarterdeck is heavily guarded, a rescue from other players outside of the prison would be extraordinarily hard and could very well lead to all involved in any kind of escape attempt to become new inmates on Quarterdeck. The best possibility of escape from Quarterdeck would be likely to build your reputation on the planet with the organized criminals and or organized crime groups that are there, and you would eventually get yourself introduced to a corrupt guard or group of guards that could get the word to the outside about rescue. Of course, you would have to maintain this reputation with these criminals and guards while you're there trying to escape. And you may have to agree to do something on the outside once you get out. But up until that point, there would be no way of rescue from anyone outside because there would be just no way to actually track a player on the surface. Remember, it is hard enough as it is right now to find a player when we know almost exactly where they are located. You jump out of a ship in the middle of an asteroid field, and if it's not, if there are no descript, for example, jump out of your ship in the middle of the yellow asteroid field, then let your ship just fly away, right, and then have somebody come and try to rescue you. You think it's going to happen? It's extraordinarily hard. You can continually tell them, oh, okay, look for this feature, look for this feature, but it's going to be almost impossible. And if you can't make it to, if you make it to a beacon, the thing is that you won't be able to look at any of the features on Quarterdeck because they will be some sort of dampening field around the planet created by the UEE prison guards who are there that will basically obscure anything on the planet. So there won't be any way of locating anybody there without any kind of, insider corrupt guard help. Basically, up until the point of getting that information to a corrupt guard and then out of Quarterdeck to one of your org members, there would just be no way to rescue somebody flying down to the surface of Quarterdeck. First, you would be caught or destroyed. Second, basically, you'd need to fly in and out really fast just to get a rescue done, and there's no way that you're going to be Quarterdeck is a planet, and you're just going to have so much, thousands of kilometers of space on that planet that the chance of you landing right next to your buddy, basically zero. Quarterdeck should be written to be extraordinarily diverse in its population. Banu, humans, Tavaran, Xi'an criminals alike. This planet should have hundreds of hours of gameplay that give the prisoner a true challenge. It may even be that the prisoner eventually builds up a reputation such that staying on Quarterdeck and running a black market operation could be extraordinarily lucrative and fun for the player. In any case, escape from Quarterdeck should take a minimum of 2 weeks and a maximum, depending on how deep in the planet their prison cell is, 2 to 6 months. Now this is if depending on how bad of a criminal they are. This person was caught and they had killed, actually killed, ended the final life of the person's character, meaning we have permadeath, and they enacted permadeath on, let's just say, 10 or more people. That's the worst criminal in the verse. Let's just say that's the worst criminal in the verse. They killed NPCs, but they also ended they gave the final death blow and made a person have to change to their heir or whatever. So that person gets caught. They get sentenced to Quarterdeck. I think that they should be, the maximum, around 6 months if you play your cards right, or if you don't play your cards right and you struggle with making deals, or you just, but if you don't ever try to play the game, you will never escape. You will always wake up on Quarterdeck and you might have to create a new account. And the ships that you have are associated with one account. If you are in prison, the ability to gift any of those ships should be locked. Now, this sounds kind of harsh, but I don't want people to be able to go be trolls, and then if they get locked on Quarterdeck and they don't want to play the game, they just gift all their ships to somebody else, to another account that they make, and then just give up on that character. No. You should have to work your way out of Quarterdeck. So lock all gift capabilities of a person who has been sentenced to Quarterdeck. Those ships are stuck with that account. And if you want to escape, if you don't want to go to Quarterdeck, then darn it, don't commit the crime. So basically, the idea is that a prison planet is a prison planet. You know what? You don't get to, you can communicate with anyone you want in Discord or the real world, but they're still not going to be able to find you. You can even walk around and on the surface of Quarterdeck and look up, but the distortion field is going to make it so you can't tell what the constellations look like. The stars won't be the same. You won't see any, it'll just be like a permanently cloudy sky, and it'll be permanently obscured so that there's just no way. The sun will seem like a big blurry thing coming, when the planet orbits, or when the planet rotates and stuff like that. So I think that it should be impossible to escape without actually playing the game. And depending on, you may want to wait out your sentence. I don't think the sentence should be too long. Let's say the longest sentence ever should be 1 actual human year. If you wanted to wait out your sentence, fine, you could do that. There should be hundreds, possibly even thousands of hours of gameplay on Quarterdeck. And this is kind of what I'm thinking, that this really needs to be made a very thorough level of, like, it could be essentially its own game. And the idea you could basically say, hey, we want an entire planet gameplay of prison guards, prisoners, the dynamics all written out, maybe even get some other game company to make that content. I don't know if that's possible, but I was thinking each planet in the verse could have such a diverse level of content to it. It's hard for one game company to create all this, but I'm not going to get off onto that tangent right now. So they'll still own their ships. It's not like your ships are going away. They'll still be in the verse, but it'll be an in-lore reason for why they are not out in the general population. If enough diverse on Quarterdeck prison missions exist, the subsumption can create extra missions. Like let's just say you have 500 actually handcrafted hero type missions on Quarterdeck, right? It could take a year or 2 to make all those missions, maybe less if the mechanics of game engine development become as fleshed out as we hope them to be, then that will be the case. Now, Subsumption, the AI, can actually create a whole bunch of other missions that would spawn naturally because different wants and desires of the NPCs would create all these missions all over Quarterdeck. Go kill, Silent Bob because he's been bothering my minions or whatever. I mean, it could be a whole bunch of different kind of stuff. Go steal, go interrupt their black market supply chain so we can have a better supply chain. There could be literally hundreds, if not thousands, of missions that would all lead you towards getting reputation built up with different crime syndicates across the planet of Quarterdeck, which is a prison. So, instead of just putting trolls on their own server instance, like was mentioned by Chris Roberts, this would truly be a way to get rid of the trolls and the sociopath pirates out of the game. But in the game, right? It's not like you're getting them out of the game. You're giving them what they want. They want to be criminals. Fine. In real life, there is criminal punishment. Okay, so there we go. Now, there would be some actual players who want to just thump noobs and have no challenge whatsoever. But I contend that these players are rare. There are players out there who want to play the real sociopath or criminal, and they just get bored in games. So if the game is not boring, those people who normally might just be trolls in games actually end up not being trolls. So, but let's look, the PvE player who does not want to keep getting ganked by the board troll and would have at least knowledge that, a troll is going to get what's coming to them eventually. And that troll who maybe, now the troll is really what it is. What is it called to troll? Well, I mean, that's different, explanation by a lot of different people. But honestly, I think it is when you focus on a single person or a single group of people and you continually go back and harass them. And trolling can often be seen as if you're not using actual mechanics that were intended in game, but you're using a bug, you all of a sudden are a troll. Okay? So, to address these multiple concerns and solutions, you will have a very great game in the making. If you can address the issue of the sociopath, the out of control murderous pirate, or just the troll, but do it with an in-game explanation, I believe that you will create a truly wonderful experience, not only for the PvEers, because having these people in the game is valuable. It's going to make the game, going out into these what they call the low sec or low security space areas, it's going to make it heart-poundingly frightening. And again, the punishment means that for the pirate or the sociopath or the murderer, it's also going to be heart-poundingly, oh my God, if I get caught and thrown on Quarterdeck, I know that my game is going to completely change, but it's not going to be ruined. It's just going to change, and I'm not going to be able to do the same things I was. So prisoners and people on the prison planet of Quarterdeck are going to be really still in the game, but in lore away from everybody else. And I think that needs to happen. So anyways, that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. For all of you who have watched this and enjoyed it, you're welcome to comment below. And for all of my subscribers, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Zazbat Nano Nano.